Okay, there are people starting to arrive at the inn, and they're just dusting off snow from their shoes, etc. The snow outside isn't pretty bad this morning at all. It's kind of, but they're just trudging off the snow from the shoes, and you can see Silas Thrain is coming down the stairs and greeting them as again, saying, "Gentlemen, come, let us Nelly, we need drinks to celebrate." And they're all disappearing. You see them going past your kitchens because the private rooms are beyond the kitchens. And they're disappearing to a private room. So Mal, this is around lunchtime, so you'd be up now. You would catch the tail end of all this group, probably woke you up, chatting there and then heading down the hallway to where the private drinking rooms are.
How many people were in the group? Was it 6?
Five minus 1, 4.
But not including the one we haven't met.
Not the one on the contract. The name on the contract you haven't met.
We haven't met the others. Oh, have we? We've just seen them.
We've seen them. We haven't talked.
We've witnessed their existence.
Yes.
But we don't even know whether they are them.
You're assuming that that's them because they're friends of this narrative guy.
This could be a bold assumption.
Well, we know their names because Thrain has told us them, and we met these people earlier through introduction, so we must have their names.
Well, Thrain has certainly said that these people who you mentioned on the contract are farmer friends of his, and he has dealings with them basically of ownership of their farms.
Well, as I say, we met them socially earlier, so we must have exchanged names. So are they the same people?
Or the people, or...
Well, we know the name. Because
so you can say that the one on the contract that isn't those names must be...
Okay, so I shall try and track down someone from the area, like one of the staff at the Tipsy Tinker.
In the main drinking room.
Yeah, and then I'll get them to the names on the contract basically say where their farms are and which one, so I can work out which one's where.
Okay, their name's written all by except for on farms. Oh, sorry, I didn't put the X. The Trillip farm is where the murder was.
The Trillip farm. Which is there.
Yeah,
that's quite a while away.
And you see it's next to that little ridge where the druid stone things are.
Yeah.
Where you went up there.
Oh, okay.
So what was the...
And which one's the missing one?
Missing one that you haven't seen. He's seen is Mornley.
Mornley, the one further out.
It's the 2 furthest out.
And who are you asking about this?
What's that? The person from the Tipsy Tinker.
Well, he tells you as well, the person there. Well, Mornley farm burnt down a couple of years ago.
That'll explain
About
why
10
they're
years
no longer
ago.
there. 10 years ago.
He's dead. He burnt it there.
I think the other thing I was going to do, I was going to sit down and actually read the entire contract, like, properly. So that contract was written in 2141?
Yep.
Okay.
And he died in 2143. He's now 2153.
Yeah.
So it's 2 years after. Maybe.
Okay, 2146 was when Mornley farm burnt down, and the farmer Mornley was killed in the fire.
Did they find his body?
They found his body. They said
Okay.
the remains.
They found a body.
Yeah.
So at least
it's an untidy document.
Yeah.
That, it would normally have other people who are beneficiaries in that.
In the case that
you don't think it's been written by a legal professional.
So as a scribe, I've got profession scribe. Can I tell it's all written in the same hand?
Yes, it is.
So it's all written in the same hand, and are all the signatures reasonably different?
The signatures, make a check at 15. Using whatever you think you've got for scribe.
better be a good scribe.
Yeah.
Not that it...
Well, some of them, like there is differences there, definitely.
Yeah.
They're not all been written by the same person, but maybe some you can't tell if like one or two of them are the same hand. But you don't think that they've all been done.
Have they all been written in the same ink?
Yes, it looks like they've been written at the same time.
Right. Okay.
They haven't used the blue pen for this one and the black pen.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully go back to work unless you got anything else you want to do.
that's what I wanted to find out.
Yeah, well, one of the stable
Having
has
lunch.
come back, right, and he's obviously flustered.
Yeah.
And you can see basically that, his hair has got braids in it, and he's saying, "The fairy did this. The fairy did this. She's gone crazy." And Nellie goes running out to see what's happened.
Well, I must say, your hair has never looked prettier.
And look, he shows you he's got black soot under his eyes.
Oh, very fetching. In Gablehead, you'd be the belle of the ball. And I'm saying this loudly so that other people hear it.
She must have enchanted me. Suddenly I find myself unconscious on the floor. One of her little needle arrows sticking in me.
Hello. Okay.
Nellie comes back, obviously flustered, saying she can't find her. She saw her briefly.
Oh, you're talking about the
fake
flicky.
creature, yeah.
Yep.
Some idiot has given her alcohol.
Oh dear.
She has gone crazy. She'll be going round the inn for the rest of the day doing her tricks.
Good. Because that's going to upset the status quo.
I'll make a roll at 18 perception.
Oh God.
Yeah, you should be able to see things. You got eyeballs.
Perception. Try again.
It's not that hard. It's like a 35% chance.
Not like that, it's not.
You can see that Nellie seems to be very flustered, right? And she goes over, right, and she's talking to Holfrey at the bar, saying that just make sure all the windows are closed. We don't want her getting into the inn when she's in a state like this. He sighs and starts going upstairs to look at all the windows.
Is there a window in the kitchen?
Yeah, there's an open window. Looks at the backyard and the kitchen.
Well, but he hasn't come into the kitchen and closed anything yet.
No, he's gone upstairs. To the guest rooms and that.
Are they getting a lot of alcohol ordered into the room?
Oh yes, wine is being taken in there. Bottles of their finest wines are being asked for down in the cellars.
I'm just wondering what you're doing.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just assessing the situation from the kitchen.
You make a check at 15 perception while you're in the kitchen.
Oh, this dice is good.
I'm going to change dice.
So what did you get?
26.
Okay, with a roller, I just see two things. One is, you can see a tray with some bottles that are being taken in the room. And there's a bottle of black dragon venom on that tray that's going there.
Oh, I
You
didn't
see,
know.
it looks exactly like those bottles you see with the labels in the place. And also, you see very briefly, there's this diminutive figure with flittering, shimmering wings on the back window. And it kind of looks at you and goes, and then flitters away.
Okay.
Inside or outside?
Outside?
Outside in the backyard.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone's kind of in the inn area. You're in the kitchen.
Kitchen,
right?
yeah, helping out.
And Deshaun's starting to take food down to the private room.
Elias, do you want me to take that in for you?
Oh, if you would, yeah. Anyone else doing anything? Or
I'm going to go outside and just do a walk around the facility and then around the stable, and then I'll come back late whenever that's finished. So that's what I'm doing, just out for a look.
Okay, I'll go main drinking room, you, then Nigel.
Yep.
Main drinking room while you're still sitting there, etc.
Yes.
There's people tidying away the blankets and pillows that were by the fire for the old lady. There's some of the farmers who are not the main farmers you've seen, who still have business in the valley,
Yeah.
come in to get something to eat. And there's a guy, a very flustered farmer, big straw hat and coat on against the cold. He's come to see Nellie, brought her over. He wants to see knowledge, and he says, it's just no good to come. He wants to see knowledge. He needs to get some of those traps that he used to borrow from knowledge when they had trouble with a bear back a couple of years ago. So she's gone off to find knowledge, the grandfather. Meanwhile, going into the private drinking room, the 5 figures are gathered in there, which are the 4 farmers, right? And Thrain. You can see here that one of them is very seems flustered and nervous, and it seems to be over the death that happened last night. And the conversation here before you go in, and conversation kind of dries up. He's just saying that, it's not a coincidence. He's come back. It's the ghost of Morley's come back. And the others are basically rubbishing in that, saying that you're far too superstitious and think of ghosts too much. It is not. It's simply a murder. We don't know what's happened. Perhaps a vagabond on the roads has come and killed him. And then you come in and kind of There's papers on the table.
I'll come in with the tray like, hello, I'm Havoc. I'm helping out Deshawn. I have the pleasure to help her today.
Just leave it here. So Silas at the top. They basically just gets the. You can see that he takes the black dragon venom off the tray that you've got there, and he's looking at it. And he says, "It's a pity he's dead," and he puts it down.
Is this room pretty small?
Okay, if everyone sits around the table, right, there's a big long table that fits about 12 people, so they've got half that number in there, and either side of it there's enough room to move around with a set of drawers on either side, and there's a big painting above the set of drawers. The painting has a number of gentrified looking people in a farmland background.
Does it kind of look like these people?
As you go by, yeah, it looks like them.
I know.
Except there's one more of them.
What is the...
Silas Thrain isn't in it.
Silas Thrain isn't?
No.
But the other guy is the guy that probably is.
Oh, and the other thing that on the table, that before you came in front of all, it looks like we're playing cards when you came in.
Playing cards. Okay.
Yeah, there are hands of cards in front of him.
Does it look like a fancy deck or a pretty average?
Oh, it's plain and well worn, and it's a set of dragons cards.
I will pretend to leave, and I'll close the door, and I'll try and slink in underneath the table.
You're not going to be the clumsy waiter who has to tidy up.
Yeah, I'll try and close it. It looks like I've left.
Yeah.
Once they're all back to talking, and then try and slink back in.
Into
afterwards.
the room?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll describe the room a bit better.
Okay.
Right, it's like a door. If I come through the door, the table's about 2 steps away.
Oh, so it's like a room with the table.
It's a big long room. It's a big room with a table in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a window at the end,
know.
a shuttered window that's closed at the other end.
Okay. I guess I won't do that. It'll be a bit harder. So
I just imagine coming in and they were looking at you.
Walking on the spot. Going now.
I guess I'll leave and go back up to the kitchen.
Okay. Meanwhile, in the barn.
Doing a circuit around the inn proper and then around the barn, and then I'll go back into the tavern.
Right.
So just keeping an eye on...
There's a flittering of shimmering wings.
Oh, yes.
And whoop, and kind of sitting at a diagonal, standing on a diagonal of the chest and looking at you, is a small fairy who is going...
So, let me think. You didn't drink the milk, did you? Did you drink the soup? I wonder if you enjoyed the cider.
And she brings an empty thimble.
And I shall take the empty thimble. I won't be able to get back to you within the next 15 to 20 minutes, but after that.
Okay, well, she immediately flitters up into the air, face to face with you, looking very angry.
Oh, you would like me to do this now? Well, I'm more than happy to, but if I'm going to do this for you, what will you do for me?
Make a roll at 15, a perception check.
Ooh.
A really drunk fairy. Yes! 15! 16! I hit it!
She kind of shrugs, looks amorous, right?
Yeah.
The way she turns her head, you notice she has a small, tiny flower in behind her ear. It looks remarkably like the ones you saw at the murder farm.
You wouldn't happen to know what happened...
On the ground, yeah?
You wouldn't happen to know what happened to that dead farmer, would you? Because that flower looks very similar.
She kind of
Little flower.
flitters up onto your shoulder,
Yes.
and you hear a tiny voice in your ear, the first time you've actually heard it, which says basically, "Dead farmer."
Trillip. We examined the death of a farmer last night down at the Trillip farm, and out of nowhere it seems, those little flowers seem to be growing.
I don't leave the farm.
You don't leave the inn.
That's right.
So where did you get the lovely flower?
At the back. In the gardens.
I'll get you that cider. Oh, are you a cider fairy or a beer fairy?
And she falls over backwards into the straw.
I'll get a drink. I'll go into the
She's crazy.
stable where I'd placed them. I'm assuming that there's at least 2 left that have milk or soup in them and one that's empty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll pick up the ones that are full, empty them out, slosh them in the... Go back into the tavern and ask, can I have cider in that one and beer in that one, please?
Okay, hole 3 is looking. Okay. How much? He's not sure, like, are you a teetotaler, Father? And you can only have a little drink.
Well, it's something I don't like to indulge in myself, so a little goes a long way.
Okay, over his shoulder, though, Nellie's looking. And she's looking at those thimbles and she's looking at you. She's
I'm
saying,
smiling back at her.
you're not feeding the fairy, are you?
That would seem to be irresponsible.
Hole 3, don't give him the thimbles. Take him the thimbles off.
Right. I shall retire.